Hey everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Access Entertainment Metalholic Magazine, and with us today, Thomas Youngblood of Kamelot, going to talk about the new album, Haven. How you been doing, man?
Doing great, thanks. It's an exciting time. The new record's coming out in about a week and a half, so we're ready to start our touring cycle, and so far everything's going great.
Absolutely. I was going to say the new album, Haven, it's beautiful. You know, you're listening to the music, the fantastic lyrics, and I was just really excited listening to it. You guys have really done something special here.
Well, thank you. We started writing the album probably about a year ago or a year and a half. Recorded most of from summer to the winter of last year, and we put a lot of time and effort into it. And so far, the press response has been great, and we can't wait for the fans to actually hear it.
Well, and you've always had an atmospheric and cinematic quality to your albums, but Haven really seems to push that. It seems dark yet uplifting, emotive, and very diverse. Did you have a specific goal or direction going in?
Not really. I mean, we kind of knew that there was going to be a bit of a kind of a dark edge to this album, maybe compared to Silverthorn, for example, but somehow we were able to balance that kind of darkness with also, like you mentioned, these uplifting kind of atmospheres. So I think that's a perfect blend of what we would like to have with every Kamelot record is this sort of contrast and diversity. And, you know, I think we're one of the bands that continue to create records that we hope the fans listen to from beginning to end. And so we want to, you know, kind of paint this cinematic picture with each record. And so I think on Haven, you know, you really get a real roller coaster of emotions between, like you said, the dark and the light type elements that we have on the record.
Well, yeah, and, you know, Silverthorn was obviously a concept, too, and this one doesn't seem like it's a concept, but there definitely seems to be a theme running through it, and there's definitely this thread of continuity to it. Yeah,
I mean, we definitely didn't want to do another concept record with Haven, but we did end up finding that there was some kind of this dystopic kind of theme that somehow kind of started, and it started to spread through the lyrics and a little bit into the imagery and also the music. And I'd been on a kind of a kick with these kind of dystopic era movies, and even when I was a kid, I was really totally into those kind of movies. So it was kind of fun for me to have Kamelot, a Kamelot record that is more kind of based in the present and future versus, you know, a lot of the historic stuff that we did in the past. So yeah, I think that's going to add a new element to the stage show and also to the videos. So it's exciting.
Absolutely. The imagery for this record is great. You guys have always had fantastic imagery anyway, but it's really, really elevated on this one. Now, when I was listening to it, I believe that's Troy Donackley, assuming I didn't just butcher his name, handiwork on Under Gray Skies, and I believe that's Charlotte Wetzel's as well.
That's correct, yeah. On the ballad Under Gray Skies, the original idea for that ballad was more orchestral. It was pretty much, you know, full-blown orchestral arrangement, and I really wanted to have Troy on the album. We had hung out a little bit on the Nightwish Kamelot tour a few years back and became friends, and so we kind of stripped the song down to more of a, you know, with the acoustic guitar and with Troy's instruments. And last minute we brought in Charlotte because we had a section in the song that we all thought was kind of missing something, and she was actually on tour at the time in Europe and was able to find a studio and do her parts like in a day or two. And, you know, the final result is just really, really came out super cool.
And I know Alyssa White Glues was on the album as well. And where does she appear?
She's on the song Liar Liar. There's a really super heavy growl part in the song Liar Liar, which came out really cool. And also she's singing clean on that song. She's also on the song Revolution, which is probably a song we'll be adding to the set list coming up on the tour. And she's been, you know, part of the family for 3 years now and toured with us mostly on the full Silverthorn tour.
Right.
And, you know, we're just so happy to see her now with Arch Enemy, and we're just happy that she was able to be on Haven, and she's going to be in one of the videos that we'll probably be releasing in a few months.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's always, anytime you hear her doing her clean vocals, you're almost thrown off because you're so used to the harsh growling, but she's got such a beautiful voice. So
yeah, she's very talented. I mean, and so for me, it was important, if we were going to bring her back on this record, to showcase a different part of her voice. And we're not usually big on bringing the guests back again, but with this situation, I think it worked out perfectly.
absolutely. So now tell us about the first single, Veil of Elysium.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think for Kamelot fans, it's it definitely fits into the Kamelot picture that they probably expect. It's got a real memorable chorus and melody. I don't totally dig the whole the term single, because what I like to do is just have songs come out and hopefully fans, they listen to the whole record and not judge one album by one single or not, but because we really try to make the albums diverse. But since it was something that, with the record labels and things like that, they want to do these kind of things, we picked that song because we felt it really represented, a Kamelot type of sound that I think the fans were expecting.
Well, and you hit it there, though, too, especially with this record, having, listened to it myself now. But you really have to listen to it all the way through to experience it, especially with something that Kamelot does, because that's sort of the way you guys put your stuff together. You're not a singles band.
Right. I mean, there's songs on there that radio could play if they wanted to, but it's not something that we go for and think about, okay, let's just write 2 good songs and then the rest of the album can be crap, So our goal is always to make a complete, full experience for the fans. And, music should be about emotion, and we try to bring all of those kind of emotions from the human condition into the albums. And I think on Haven, we were able to really do that to our highest level so far.
Now, I know it seems like almost every album there's 1 or 2 songs that just sort of write themselves, but there always seems to be one song that goes kicking and screaming all the way down to the wire before you finally get it where you want it. Which song was the most problematic for you guys to finish on this record?
Probably the Revolution song. We did a lot of different versions of that song. And because it's the last song on the album, we wanted to make sure that it was like a big kick in the face, a big exclamation mark, So there was different versions. We messed around with different vocal parts, and in the end, I think all of that time and energy we spent on it, we're really happy with the final outcome. It's kind of like we wanted that song to be like this explosion of emotion at the end, like this release of all this pent up energy, and hopefully when the fans listen to it, they'll kind of get that. And then that's kind of followed by an instrumental part called Haven, which, I think I kind of look at it as this, when the credits are rolling in a movie, you have this music that sort of finally lets you kind of breathe and sit back and hopefully feel good about what you just experienced.
Now, you guys worked with Sasha Paith, I'm probably butchering his last name too, again on this record. What does he bring to the table that works so well for you guys? Yeah,
he's been with us for 10 plus years. He's, when we started doing the Fourth Legacy, he was our producer, and I think he was one of the guys that really helped hone the sound for Kamelot and, basically start us on a different direction. And he's just an amazing guitar player. He's one of our co-songwriters, and he really is a great person to have on the team, because he's an outsider of the band, but he's also been with us for so long, so he also has a bit of an objective view on things. So it's always good to have that. And like I said, it just, it's really super creative and great guy to work with.
And now you guys are spread out all over the place. Does that make it more difficult to keep the writing organic, or has technology sort of made that a moot issue?
Not really. I mean, I still think that getting together, like for example, on this album, I flew to Germany to sit down with Oliver, our keyboard player, and for 2 or 3 weeks we sat down every day, worked on songs. That's never going to be duplicated. So from that aspect, it's important, and of course it adds a little bit of cost and travel and what have you for Kamelot. But after we've done the basic songwriting, it's easy to kind of send stuff back and forth, talk about arrangements, those kind of things. I think with the most difficult part is probably when it comes to starting tours. where we do rehearsals, so we have to bring everybody into one kind of central location to rehearse before a tour. So we have a base in Germany, and we have a base here in Florida that we do for depending on which tour we're going to do.
So now the album is still so fresh, but do you have a favorite moment on Haven, a moment that when you captured it and heard it play back, you got chills?
Yeah, that's actually Here's to the Fall. I mean, the first time I heard the vocals on that song, I got mega goosebumps and was just like, wow, because the vocal performance that Tommy does on that song and also the arrangement of the orchestral parts is really something special. I think all Kamelot fans will really going to love that song. And the first time I heard it, I got goosebumps. So, yeah, that was definitely a standout.
And this is Tommy's second full album with the band. Now he's sort of found his place in the band, and you can really sort of feel him coming to his own on this record. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, you can imagine with Silverthorne. Also, we didn't have as much time, even though the way the end result was in my opinion, really, really good. But with this album, after touring with us for 2.5 years, and everybody knows each other now, and I think that definitely lends itself to him being more confident, more comfortable, and also being able to kind of reach out and show a little bit more of his personal vocal ability and also his songwriting. I mean, he wrote all the lyrics and most of the vocal melodies, along with Oliver, who did a lot of vocal melodies with him. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a great thing to have a person like that to be able to step in and fairly seamlessly continue to evolve with the band. And it's great to see now with Silverthorne and now with Haven that the band is actually growing still. So that's a cool sign too.
Well, and that's a nice segue because this year marks the 20th anniversary of Kamelot's debut release, Eternity. Can you take us back and give us some insight into making that first record and maybe share a story the fans might not know from that period?
Well, I mean, it was very exciting, of course. We had been doing demos at Morrisound Studios, and so I think we had 3 or 4 songs that ended up being on the first record, but we had to go back in and finish the album. And I think everybody's debut record is always this real special moment because for years you've been in the garage or wherever it might be working on songs, and so to finally be able to kind of have that validation and have someone else actually pay for the studio was really cool. I mean, it's still at the time we were pretty much doing everything kind of as a hobby. It wasn't at a totally pro level at the time, but yeah, I remember going in the studio and seeing this massive board and this huge studio and thinking, wow, this is how it actually happens. This is what goes on. And the funny thing is now it's almost gone into the reverse where everybody has Pro Tools and the big massive studio days are behind a lot of groups. So it's
right.
It's kind of ironic that at that time that's what you really loved seeing, and nowadays it's that whole kind of imagery is gone.
Right, and Morrisound was just such a big piece of metal history and musical history. To get a chance to actually record there in itself is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, and it was really cool with Haven that, and actually Silverthorne, we worked with Jim Morris on the drums, and they actually just recently sold that Morrisound Studios, and so we went to a new studio in Tampa. It's a privately owned studio, but it was built by the Morrisound guys. So that was also really cool to continue to have that kind of connection with the Morrisound guys on Haven.
Fantastic. Now, you started Kamelot as a teenager. You spent over half your life doing this, obviously. Next year will mark the band's 25th anniversary. Do you have anything planned for the fans in way of celebration and commemoration?
A lot has changed over those years, and actually time has flown by, and we've always been the kind of people that are always kind of looking forward and not so much nostalgic.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I haven't even thought about it until recently. It would be cool to do something, for the fans that have been there from the beginning, but what that'll be, I have no clue right now. We're just so much focused on the Haven and looking ahead that we try not to look back in the rearview mirror too much,
Well, that sort of brings us to our final question. It's sort of a fan question. You guys are getting ready to do the first leg of your U.S. tour with Dragon Force. And one of the fans asked me last night, knowing we were going to be talking, will there be a second leg to the U.S. tour? Because you guys are obviously missing a lot of cities. Do you already have plans for what that second leg might be, or if there will be one?
Yes, we do. There will be a second leg, and that will be in November, December, and they'll probably announce it either tomorrow or next week. So I would say to all those fans that have been asking, make sure you buy the tickets as soon as the links come out so that all the promoters in Seattle or Vancouver or Dallas or wherever we might be coming it makes them very happy. So it's difficult to route a tour like this and to hit every city. So it's important, for us too to also have a lot of batteries left. So when we come back, we'll be fully recharged. So we're looking forward to that second leg. Of course, now we got the first one coming up that we want to make sure that all the fans come out and see the show, and we're bringing our good buds, Dragon Force, and I think it's going to be a big party every night with those guys. So we're looking forward to it.
Any idea who will be on the second leg of the tour with you?
Yeah, we're going to bring Dragon Force again with us.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
That'll be exciting. Hopefully one of these days you'll get to Boise. I don't think you've ever played Boise, at least not while I've lived here. But it would be
I always want to add that to the touring. We stopped over there one time and had an amazing time in the city. And actually our drummer Casey, and at the time our drum tech, who is now singing for this Vegas rock show, they got up and played in some bar in Boise, and they brought the house down. So it was a really cool experience being there that one time, and we'd definitely like to come back for sure.
Awesome. Thomas, Youngblood, Kamelot, the new album Haven, out May 5th. We are so looking forward to getting it out there in the ears of all the fans. I've had a chance to hear it. It's fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot of stuff on your plate.
Thanks, brother. Looking forward to seeing you on tour, and everybody go check out Haven, and we'll see you soon.